Congrats on getting beyond $1 million. What got you here won't always get you there. This is a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to reach beyond their 7-figure business and scale to 8, 9, and even 10 figures. I'm Brad Weimert, and as the founder of Easy Pay Direct, I have had the privilege to work with more than 30,000 businesses, allowing me to see the data behind what some of the most successful companies on the planet are doing differently. Join me each week as I dig in with experts in sales, marketing, operations, technology, and wealth building. And you'll learn some of the specific tools, tactics, and strategies that are working today in those multi-million, 8, 9, and 10-figure businesses. Life can get exciting beyond $1 million. Man, Grant Cardone has been a client of Easy Pay Direct for years, but this is the first time that I've had a long-form conversation with him. And I can tell you this, it's a conversation that you have not heard anywhere else. We go from AI and how it's going to impact sales and marketing to what it's like to run a 6-person company and grow it to 650 people to managing $4 billion in real estate and everywhere in between. Things that I didn't think I could get out of Grant Cardone, we got out of Grant Cardone. So check this one out, grab a pen. This is definitely noteworthy, and add some comments because I want your feedback on this one. Let me know what we could have done better and what other questions I could ask him maybe on round 2. So if ever there were a time to share the Beyond $1 Million podcast with somebody, this is it. Share the episode, subscribe if you're not already. This is a badass conversation. Without further ado, Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone, I appreciate you carving out time. Thanks for showing up.
Hey, I wish my backdrop was as good as yours is colorful, but mine's a little bland back here. So appreciate you having me.
We can't all be this pretty, man. We can't all be this pretty.
Yeah.
I've got like 1,000 questions for you, but I want to kick things off because I got introduced to you in kind of a crazy way. And one of the things that people know you for is being like a brilliant killer salesperson. So I've got to get some advice from you on this. I got introduced to Jarrett Glant years ago, who is your president of operations, right? Great guy.
Yeah.
And Pete Vargas introduced me. And he introduced me because you were about to do your second 10X conference. And so he connected me with Jarrett, and Jarrett said, hey, we're having some challenges with payments. Specifically, how do we get these terminals across the whole thing? Because do you know how many people you had for your second 10X?
The second one, which would have been our third one, but you would know it's the second one, was probably 2,200 people.
I think this one was probably about 10,000, or you were aiming for 10,000.
Oh, yeah. This was Mandalay Bay. Okay. Yeah. There was 12,800 people there or so.
So I'm talking to Jared, and he said, hey, we're expecting this crazy amount of people, killer event, and we need help with payments. And I said, okay. And I gave him this layout of how we might be able to step in. Easy Pay Direct might be able to help. And I said, one of the concerns when you had this huge spike is the likelihood of your payment processor holding money from you. And he says, oh, yeah. We used Stripe last year. They held like $1.5 million for like 6 months. And I thought, this is great. I've found pain. I'm closing the deal. We've got the sale.
Yeah.
And Jared goes, but you know what? We've got so much cash. It just doesn't matter. And as a sales guy, I thought, what do I do with that?
Yeah, you assumed that my pain was, and this happens a lot, right? Because a guy hit me from Facebook the other day and said, I can save you a bunch of money on Facebook ads. I'm like, yeah, but that's not my dying need today. I'm like, I don't, some people don't mind wasting money. As hard as that is to believe, you can't, as a salesperson, you cannot assume what somebody's concerns or problems are. You know, your problems doesn't mean it's my problems. Yeah, that's a good point. I think people need to be reminded of some of those basic things. You know, you got to ask people what, you know, if you're a real estate agent, you think the view's great. It doesn't mean the guy wants to look at the view first. He might be into living rooms, bedrooms, or kitchens.
So your answer with that one would have been to get more info from Jared and try to figure out what the pain was there?
Yeah, like in addition to, you know, other than saving you money or getting your you not having $1 million sitting in Stripe for 6 months, what else would be important to you? How long did it take you to close the deal?
Bro, it took me years after that.
Yeah, because
it took me another probably 1.5 2 years.
Yeah. So, well, good for you that you got it. You got banks failing this weekend. 3 banks failed in America. The government is bailing those banks out. Call it whatever you want. Those are bailouts. I don't worry about it too much because I know I'm going to outproduce the situation. Same thing I did in Undercover Billionaire when Discovery Channel asked me to go to Pueblo and take away my money and my hair and my name, and I couldn't use my credit cards or call my buddies up. Could I build a business? I said, yeah, absolutely, 100%. And they thought I was being arrogant about it. I'm like, no, I know I don't need money to build a business, but I do need human contact. I don't need AI. I don't need Facebook. I don't need Instagram. I don't need social media. I don't need a video camera. I need human contact. The one thing I can't build a business if I can't make contact with people. So to the degree that people have confidence in doing that, hand to hand, looking somebody in the, gaining somebody's confidence. And it doesn't mean, Brad, that I'm going to do it with everybody or that I'll do it now. I'm happy with turning people off. I'm not trying to get everybody to like me, because if I'm trying to get everybody to like me, I can't. I'm not in high school anymore. Success in business is not a popularity contest.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that because that's definitely a big part of growing your operation right now is the traffic that you get from your public persona, right? Is the attention.
Yeah.
But before we get there, there are a couple things along the way that I think are pretty crazy. Here's what I know. I know that you grew up in a kind of a rough childhood. You had a lot of struggles there. And at some point you hit the threshold and decided to go to rehab. Can you give me some context for that and kind of what that experience was like? Because there are a ton of entrepreneurs that I think have some challenges, never make it to rehab, but are struggling with some form of addiction.
Yeah.
What was it for you and what was the breaking point?
Yeah. So I started smoking weed when I was 16 years old. My friends introduced me to it, Brian, Russell, and Gary. And I knew the night I did it, dude. I still remember where I was right now. Where, I was the room that I was in. I didn't feel good about it. I know there's a lot of people that, anyway, I don't even need to go on my soapbox about that. It just wasn't good for me because literally within a year, I would be using all kinds of crazy drugs. And for the next, it's not like it was a bad summer. It was a bad 10 years. And so I went from being a good kid with a middle-class family to being on the streets. I used this term, I don't know, in an interview maybe 6 weeks ago. I got all this shit about, like some group of people owns the streets. I'm like, I lived on the streets. Okay. Sorry, guys. You live on the streets and you're dealing with drugs every day and you don't have any money and you're trying to figure out how to get by. You learn a lot about life and getting around and moving and dodging. And so, unfortunately, and I'm not proud to say this, but I spent a lot of times compromising my ethics and my potential and damaging myself and my name. So when I was 25, I went to a treatment center. My mom said, enough, I'm done. Don't come back here. I had basically become the black sheep of my family. I'd lost all my own personal self-respect. Had lost the respect of anybody, that knew who I was. I was no longer a trusted person or particle of the community. And, I finally hit bottom. But it was tough getting there and it could have gone a lot of other directions. And so I went to treatment for 28 days. My insurance kicked in for part of it. I think I paid $14,000, borrowed the money and, turn my life around. The treatment didn't turn my life around. The solution they offered me is not what helped me. It was just getting out of the group and away from the influence and just realizing that, okay, I don't have to use drugs. I had 10 years where I had lost complete confidence that I could go 24 hours without consuming drugs. Came back. I basically took my addiction. I didn't try to get rid of this addictive personality that I have. I didn't try to get rid of it. That's what they wanted me to do at the treatment center. They're like, oh, you're sick. You're ill. I'm like, I ain't fucking ill. Bro, I'm misdirected. So I just got all this energy that's misdirected. And I don't think that's a disease. I think that's a gift because I think a lot of people would benefit from my ability to turn on an obsession. It'd be cool if it was all just light and crystals and everything. All decisions are made perfectly, but I used this very young energy. I hadn't developed any personal ethics in my own life. And my energy and obsessions kind of went off the rails. It found where it could go play, basically. I was a bored kid, 16, 17, 18 years old. I was bored and it found drugs. This boredom found drugs and this energy and this creativity found this drug lane. And I went down it too long. And then when I got off of that, I took that and converted it to, at that time I was a salesman. Only job I could get was a salesman. I hated being a salesman. And I decided to convert all that negative, destructive energy into learning how to become a good salesperson.
I love that. I frequently refer to myself as somebody with an addictive personality. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. And it doesn't matter what that thing is, but it's what you're talking about, right? It's that you've got, and you use the term obsessive, and you get obsessive about something, and that's what allows you to drive. You also said you got bored at 16, 17, and you filled the space with this. Dude, I know a lot of people that get their business to a certain point. You know, they get it to 8 figures or they get it to 20 million. They start pulling in a couple million, a few $1,000,000 a year.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens. They get bored and they don't have the drive anymore. And I see the same thing happen. They slip into that pattern.
100.
What do you do with that? And how did you keep that from happening later?
Again, I just want to apologize to everybody in advance of any suggestions or advice I give anybody here. I am known for offending people. So I apologize in advance of what I'm about to say. But when I hit my first $1 million, I was 31 years old. And then I had 1 million. I went to about $10 million and I got freaking complacent. I started giving people advice. I started saving money. I started worrying about retirement. I started thinking about golf. And that's why I say today, never take advice from a millionaire. Millionaires don't know shit about money, nothing. And that's why they save it, because they're scared they can't get it again. So if you've ever watched a guy's trajectory, okay, not everybody. And this either fits you or it doesn't fit you, whatever. But I got enough advice from millionaires to know that you don't take advice from, because they don't know how to go to 100 million and they don't know how to go to 1 billion. So what they do is they start saving money. They start conserving what they did. That's not how they got there, by the way. The way they got there was hustling and by grinding and pushing and shoving and taking risk. And then all of a sudden they get 1 million or 5 million, whatever their little comfort number is. It's a selfish thing, by the way. It's a very selfish mechanism that goes on. Once you get yours, you're like, okay, I'm paying off all my shit. I'm paying off my cars. I'm paying off my house. I'm getting rid of my debt. I'm going to start saving for retirement. What did that? You weren't thinking about any of that stuff when you got your 10 million. Now you're thinking about all that. So that's why I say never take advice from a millionaire, because what happens, and I think it's really important when you're studying other people. Like I've studied a lot of people. I need to look at where they're at in their trajectory, where they're at in their advice giving, right? Where's that? Steve Jobs said, money won't make you happy and no one should work for it. People should not simply work for money. He was rich when he said that. Okay. Now, if you'd have talked to him when he was 19 years old, him and Bill Gates, guarantee you they were chasing dollars. They were grinders, pounders, pirates. Like these guys are some of the most ruthless freaking gangsters on planet Earth. And you could say that about almost all the guys, the JP Morgans and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. These guys were grinders, 8th grade educations, pounding out, hunting money down. So I think it's very important that people watch that curve. Is the guy on his way up? Like, I'm worth more money today than I ever imagined I'd be worth. I got more grind today. I'm still, despite my age, my trajectory is still, my interest in growth is still on the way up, not on the way of trying to flatten out or hold on.
What shifted there for you when you got complacent, when you were at 10 million
I got busted.
Or whatever it was?
I got busted. I got cracked.
What do you mean?
Well, what happened was I had accumulated a bunch of money and I was starting to save money in all these accounts. And then 2008 came along and my 10 or 12 million, whatever I had at the time, my little net worth that I was so happy with got freaking evaporated over a period of about 7 months to $1 million. I think I was worth $1.9 million or something in 2010 or 11.
Was that just leverage on real estate, or how did that happen?
It happened because 2 of my businesses got slaughtered. They got cut to nothing. I was dependent upon the automobile industry, one vertical. In 2012, I had no access to, we don't even know how many followers we have online. We know how many hit the follow button, 16 million, but we think that number is probably more like 150 million people that know my name, see my videos somewhere on YouTube or Instagram. But we had none. I had no followers. I was working for a handful of companies in the auto industry. I had big contracts. We did no business. to consumers. It was all business to business, mostly Fortune 500 companies, big contracts, and those guys got slaughtered. I had 200 units in 2012. I had 200 apartment units that basically got me through the contraction. It was my income property that got me through contraction, not my businesses. My savings account didn't get me anything because the banks went and grabbed it all. And so that's when I learned, oh, shit, man, you don't want to save money. The banks that were saved in 2012 were broken banks then. You guys that are saving money in the banks right now, you got a reminder this weekend. Your money ain't safe. You just think it's safe. You want to believe it's safe. That money's not safe over there.
No.
They don't even keep your money at the bank. So we're told all these things. We're indoctrinated to believe all this bullshit. Save your money, pay off your house, get rid of your debt, plan for retirement. All that shit benefits Wall Street. It doesn't benefit you and your family.
Yeah.
We're not encouraged to take risk. Imagine if America was encouraged in school at 8th grade, take risk. Don't save money, invest it. Okay. Buy real estate that appreciates over a 10-year period. Stay broke. Do not keep money at your bank. Do not fund future emergencies. They may never happen. But what do they tell us? You need 90-day reserve for your personal life, 90-day reserve for your wife, 90-day reserve for your parents, 90-day reserve for your business. And then people start saving money, planning on emergencies that typically never happen. And who benefits? The banks benefit. First Republic Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, okay, Signature Bank. They're all in trouble today. What I would tell people to do is stay broke. That's what I do. So I had $50 million worth of debt then in 2012 and a couple $1 million worth of assets. Today I have $2 billion worth of debt and $4 billion worth of assets because I quit saving money and I quit playing the retirement game and quit playing the real estate, the stock market game, and I quit gambling. I started trusting, build my business. Number one, first of all, take care of me. 2, take care of my businesses. You know, I think I had 6 employees in 2012. I have closer to 650 today.
Wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got a couple of things. One, a big takeaway there is that the one thing that was constant that protected you was a real estate investment property that was cash flowing.
Yeah.
And as the businesses tanked, people still had to live somewhere and pay rent.
Yeah.
And I think that's just in general a good staple. And it also explains a fucking lot about you and your approach right now. Right.
Yeah.
But 2, you said 650 employees, $4 billion in real estate value, $2 billion in debt. What can you give me metrics on what do the 650 employees do? Like, I think from the outside, I know you've got a real estate fund, which explains the real estate, and then you clearly have real estate education and sales training, right?
Yeah. So there's 260 employees in Miami. There's another almost 200 in it'll get bigger than Miami. In Scottsdale, we just started an office there. I think we have 100, maybe 100 employees there, but that'll grow to 200. We have probably another 400 around the country at 40 properties, 40 different apartment complexes and our office buildings. So
got it. So you're managing the real estate as well.
Well, we have a third party, but we're managing the management company. So I'm a pretty much a control freak. So, which I think is everybody should be a control freak. By the way, I delegate things that I don't know, but I'm still touching things I don't know. So like if I want somebody else, if there's an area that I have concern about, I'm going to learn about it. Like nobody manages my money better than I do. I manage my money.
Yeah, I love that.
And then I hire people to manage the money, but I'm holding them accountable. I can't hold them accountable if I don't understand money.
Yeah, I love that.
Because hell, then I don't even know what they don't know. Mm-hmm. But so that's the real estate. That's the business, right? What I learned in 2012 was my real estate got me through. Even when the real estate values were collapsing in 2008, my real estate was still cash flowing. And I'm like, shit, dude, I need cash flow. I had 200 units there. Okay. I have 12,400 units with an average rent of $2,000 a month now. So clearly I made a pivot and I'm like, oh, I need more real estate. So how did I get the real estate? I didn't have any money. I just told you I had some debt that was going bad at the banks in 2010. So how did I get the money? I pounded my businesses out for dough. I went to audiences across the world. Like we built a big, massive audience. And then I started figuring out how I could offer those people services. 80% of what I do is free. Nobody ever has to pay me a penny. And 20% of the millions of people that know me online give me some money once, twice, three times, or a bunch of times. But 80% of everybody that knows me online has never paid me a penny. Some of my best customers do not follow me on social media. It doesn't mean they don't follow me. I have people that are off our email list that don't follow me, that don't even want emails from me, that are still great customers of mine. I saw some guy did a video the other day, said Grant Cardone's going bankrupt. You know, one of these clickbait guys. I don't know what is it, Sam Sash or some guy.
No reason to plug him.
No, I'm not. Trust me, I never use their right name. And some kid, you know, they're clickbaiting. What they're doing is clickbaiting to get Google pennies.
Sure.
Well, I'm not looking for pennies. I don't want ad dollars. I think in my entire YouTube, 12,000 videos, 12 years I've been on YouTube with 2 million subscribers, billions of views. I think my total ad revenue over 12 years is $12,000. It could have been a couple $1,000,000 a year. I don't want the ad dollars from YouTube. I want the viewer audience without an ad. Now they're forcing ads to guys like me. They're like, hey, either we're going to pay you or we're not going to pay you, but we're going to advertise on top of you anyway.
Right.
But the point of that is when you guys see people doing these clickbait videos, they're just trying to grab audience with drama. So when somebody tells you Grant Cardone has got too much debt, I have $2 billion worth of debt, $4 billion worth of assets. Okay. We have 40 properties. 35 of them have fixed debt for 10 years, 7 to 10 years. Five of them have adjustable money. And then I have 2 other businesses that produce $150 million a year that have zero debt and no shareholders. Okay. So if I go upside down, the entire world is Titanic.
Well, I think that I wanted to get specifics on that because I think that the context for that, look, yeah, of course, there's always people talking shit, specifically when you've got a personality, right? And you've got strong opinions.
Yeah.
But a philosophy, you said earlier, don't listen to millionaires. And one of the things that we make a point of doing on Beyond a Million is trying to get the numbers to the top so that you know who you're listening to actually, right? And if you have that data, and people that are doing well tend to be visible with it when asked because they're okay with it. They don't have anything to hide.
Yeah.
But it's important to me because I want to know who I'm listening to.
Let me say this because you made a really important point, right? The guy that won't tell you what he has, won't tell you what his debt is, won't tell you what his assets are. I would be more concerned about that than the guy that's willing to tell you and show you. Like there's this old idea that wealthy people won't talk about what they have. Like they don't talk about what they have. They don't show their homes. They don't show their jets. They do if you're in their circle. They're not going to show it to just anybody, right? Why? Because people start hating on them. Now, I have chosen to take a different path, which is I'm going to show people what I'm doing because that's what I wanted. If somebody would have been showing me this shit when I was 16, bro, I wouldn't have been using drugs. I'd have got addicted to success at 16 rather than at 26. And I wouldn't have wasted 10 years of my life. And so one of the reasons I do this is to show people, hey, bro, like you're not ready to buy a jet. Okay. Just because it looks cool on Instagram doesn't mean you're ready to buy one. Now I'm going to show you when it was time for me to buy one and why I do want to teach people that because most guys are not going to do it. Mark Zuckerberg's not going to show you, right? He just can't do it. So who's going to teach us? The teacher making $70,000 a year?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And there's also a fundamental difference between a heavily funded VC-backed Silicon Valley-based company and somebody that bootstrapped and had to grind to make it happen.
100.
And one is not better than the other, but different lessons, right?
Yeah. All he's going to tell you is, you got to move from your college town. You got to go to Silicon Valley. You're going to have to hobnob. You're going to get a bunch of dough. You haven't sold anything. There's no products or services. There's no transactions. Like they don't even want to let you know that game's going on. You got to get in a club to get that to happen. I've never been in a club.
Very, very different approach.
Dude, it's completely different. So I envy those guys. I wish I had the manner, the proper protocols. If I knew how to take a knee and do whatever I got to do to get my money. But I don't know how to do that. I don't even know if I could make the pitch that I want to take somebody's money and my company probably will never, ever have any revenue.
Yet, you still did grow from 6 people on the team to 650.
Yeah.
So what changed in your approach as the CEO and leader of the company? And what's the difference in day to day for you now in your role versus then? And you don't have to go all the way back to 6, but let's say, when you had 20 or 30 employees, how was your role different than it is today when you have 600?
Well, when you have 20 or 30, now you're having to measure people, grade people, worry about people, train people. When you have 600, you don't need to do any of that. The more, the better. Okay. I want 6,000. I'd love to have 60,000 employees one day. So the more employees, the better, the bigger the problems, but the less the David. Meaning I don't have David a problem anymore. I got 6,000 David problems. But they're at a different level, right? It's like, okay, am I going to be able to make payroll this week? Not, oh, David's a dickhead because he showed up late. The CEO should not, like, if you're a true founder and a real CEO, which I had to, like, it goes like this: worker, a student, worker, commission, manager, manager of many, maybe, a partner, CEO, and then CEO of a bunch of companies. And then at some point, probably investor, not boss. So I want to move away, right? I'm trying to move away from the day-to-day activities and problems that happen in any business and start kind of pulling, kind of being a promoter of events and activities and possibilities, as opposed to pulling every string every day.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what are the core things that, how do you think about delegation to that end? Like, what are the things that you think, no, I have to own this versus what you can delegate?
Well, there's certain things that I just, somebody else is going to collect the data, but they're definitely going to report it to me. So, I mentioned the control thing earlier, like targets. The closer I get to an event, whatever the event is, the event could be Mandalay Bay that you discussed earlier with 12,000 people. It could be in 2 nights, I'm going to be doing an emergency call for Cardone Capital investors. The closer we get to an event that's important to me, the more often I'm going to get reports. So when I get down to the last 7 days of something, I'm going to continue to validate or clarify the target and then ask for a report on that target. So as I get 7 days or 2 days out from something, I'm going to start compressing the report time. So like that emergency thing I'm going to do in 2 days for Cardone Capital investors because of what's going on with the banks, I'll get a report every 15 minutes how many people have signed up for it. And every 15 minutes, somebody has to give me a report. And I want to see how much that report changes every 15 minutes. And everybody will understand how important that is to Grant. So I will be heavily, heavily in control on short-term events that are vitally important to what I believe the growth of the company.
Interesting. You mentioned some of these things that you don't know how to do, but you still won't have an understanding of. What are the things that are definitely not in your wheelhouse that you're like, no fucking way am I spending time on those? 100% I have to hire other people to do this.
Yeah, you see, like, let me just show you this real quick. Okay, this is yesterday at 4:48. A guy's giving me a report on this Arizona event we're doing. 4:48, a report comes in. Every seat, every upgrade, everything. And then at 8:01 that night, he sent me another one. So right now they're 4 hours.
Love it.
When we get closer, what I'll do is I'll cut it back and say, I need something every 30 hour or every 30 minutes. So everybody's like, shit, man. It's a trick that works, by the way. But the important part of that is the target, man. You got to remember what the target is for the company, because if you forget what those vital targets are, so will they. Now, referring to the things I'm not good at, dude, I'm not good at like 90% of the things of a company. And there's so many things I don't understand. HR, I don't know how to hire anybody. I don't know what makes a good hiree or a bad one. Or, I know there was 10 years of my life where I was worthless to any company. And then one day something changed and then I wasn't worthless anymore. I was extremely valuable. I went from being worthless to like most valuable player on the team. And somebody just
So that hiring piece is it's a super common problem, right? Especially for salespeople. But it's a super common issue for entrepreneurs. So do you remember what size you were when you got somebody to do the hiring and had it be effective? Because you can't hire 650 people without somebody running point on it and that actually working.
Yeah, I'll tell you when I quit doing it. When I hired a guy named Steve Spray that Jared brought to the team. And I told Jared was starting to step into a management position. I'm like, every 3 days, get rid of that Steve Spray guy. He's like an idiot. He'll never make it. He's a waste of time and energy. And then Jared would kind of give me the, yeah, sure, Grant, I got it. Right. And then he'd hold on to Steve. Steve is a superstar today. He's been with me 10 years. He's got millions of dollars invested with me at Cardone Capital. He probably makes $400,000-$600,000 a year for himself. Super dependable. I just realized one day, hey, I don't know who's good and who's bad. People need to be brought in. They need to be nurtured. They need to be, they need to be trained. And I'm not the guy to do that.
Got it. So ultimately, is that you had hired Jared, and Jared, by the way, did he start just entry-level sales with you?
He was an entry-level $2,500 a month salesperson, commission only. He moved across the country to work there. I hired 3 managers on top of him, and he kept not taking the job. I'm like, bro, I keep hiring these losers. Why don't you just take the job? Like, what are you doing that you don't feel strong enough or confident enough to do this? You can do this. He walked away from a book of residual business, stepped into a management role, took a pay cut. Now Jared probably makes, I don't know, $2 or $3 million a year now.
And so when he stepped into that role, you think that is he the one in the company that ultimately got good at hiring and
No, I don't think so. I don't think he's good. I don't know that any of us are good at it. I mean, I'm serious. I don't know that any of us are good at it. What we're good at is creating a culture. Okay. Like I'm good at getting rid of people. Jared's not. I don't think it's about what anybody's good or bad at. You just got to get a whole bunch of people that know how to play different roles together. Like I would give up on people a lot sooner than Jared would. Okay. Jared, on the other hand, has a lot of people quit on him that he should have quit on first. But I'm at a point now where I'm like, I don't care, guys. Like I know where I'm going. Again, I'm gonna go back to the target. Screw all that. Have a target that's so significant that you can manage these losses along the way. And you don't care if David quit or stole from you because David's going to quit no matter what you do, no matter how good you are to him, no matter how many days you give him off, no matter how many times you lend him money, no matter how many times you help him, train him, support him, cuddle him, coddle him, pray for him, the motherfucker is still going to quit. And it's got nothing to do with it's because he's a quitter.
Yes.
And
so the answer is A, outproduce the problem.
Yeah.
Just keep fucking producing things. And B, you said create the culture.
Build a bigger team.
I love it. So what's the glue of the culture for you? Like clearly motivation driven intensity has to be a part of it, especially in the sales culture. But what are the values that keep the culture together and build the culture?
Well, Sherry, not Jared, not me, holds a meeting every day with the entire team. Starts at 9:06 every morning. Every person has to be there. You can't be late for it. You're late 3 times, you're done. No exceptions. It doesn't matter who you are. We do training every day on Cardone University. Every one of our people are required to train. If you don't train, you don't work there, period. Your activity is measured. You don't want anybody to measure activity. You don't work at my company. We pay people more money than most people do. And we expect people to do more than most people will ever expect of them. We know that probably 50% of the people that come to work at our place are going to be like, dude, I can't do this long term. We're like, fine, that's fine. We just hope that people that leave us, when they leave us, they look back and say, God dang, I missed that place. A lot of energy there. Because I know what they're going to go to. They're going to go to a company that has no mission, no targets, no leadership. Number one biggest complaint people have in the workforce today. It's not that they don't make enough money. It's like I don't have any leadership around me to keep me inspired. And it's not just a sales organization. We have a big customer service. You know how many complaints I get? I got 4 million people on the email list. Half of them complain that I send them too many emails. I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that you saw my email today. And we sent out almost 500 million emails last year in 1 year. My people want me to send less emails out. I'm like, you go work for yourself, go work for somebody else, and you can send less emails out. I got an email. I'm going to send a mail. Otherwise, it's not email.
So let me that's a good question. I've got a couple like quick questions I want to ask you that are, I think, relevant to today, but that hits directly on marketing and bringing leads in, which you clearly do a very good job of by getting attention through social, through email, through functionally PR in different capacities. Where do you go for guidance on that? What's the approach there? How do you learn that?
Well, I listen. I'm all over the internet like everybody else. Like, I'm trying to learn about what's going on with these banks right now, right? This weekend. I'm just talking about something I don't really know everything about. What is inflation? Or what are we doing in Ukraine? What I do is I go listen to rooms where there's intelligent debate. And then I listen to, okay, that's bullshit, and that's bullshit, and that's bullshit. I don't know anything about that. I don't understand that. I need to learn about that. And then I have to decide, though, for myself what's true. I collect data, and then I decide for myself. For instance, Lewis Howes taught me how to do webinars. Lewis told me there were certain things that were true about webinars, some of which made no sense to me. I did it with Lewis his way, and then I went and tried it my way to see if some of what the traditional marketing group agreement might be incorrect. I made a couple of little changes that I thought would be beneficial to me with my style and my personality and my products and just my belief. It's made me one of the most successful webinar hosts in the world. Social media, for instance, when social media came out and people started talking about it, I was at a Google event and they were talking about social media. I went there to learn. They asked me to speak there. The guy that spoke before me had me in his PowerPoint as someone not to be. They're like, this is an example of people that are making mistakes on social media. And because they said I sold too much, I promoted too much on social media. I have 16x bigger audience than he does today. And I know that I've done it since that meeting. I've done $1.2 billion in sales over the internet and raised another $1 billion. So if I'm doing it wrong, bro, I want to keep doing it more wrong like that. Okay. That doesn't always mean I'm right though, but it just means that I don't know how to get more out of less. I looked at Mark Wahlberg. I was talking to an actor yesterday. I'm in Clearwater right now, and we were talking about social media, and he's just like, I don't feel good about, I'm on TV and I'm doing movies and then I'm on social. And I'm like, bro, who told you that you can't be a movie star and be on social media? And then he told me about this celebrity that did one infomercial and never worked again. And I said, you need to go look at Mark Wahlberg's, go look at Mark Wahlberg, The Rock, and go look at, Kevin Hart. Go look at their social media platforms. Mark Wahlberg yesterday in one day had 5 different pitches on his Instagram, and he's a major movie star. So I just think that a lot of people have this group idea, like Hollywood believes social media is a contradiction. Business owners think they can't use social because they look like sluts selling their products on the internet. Influencers don't want to promote because they're like, oh, I'm going to lose my influence. I'm like, okay, whatever you guys think that, but it doesn't mean it's true for me. And I just got to figure out my little way to navigate through all that. I don't know if that answers that, but I'm going to keep promoting on the internet.
Yeah, well, it's helpful. And I think that one of the big takeaways is listen to people that are good at it. And then you have to make your own call and put volume into it, put activity into it. Because if you don't have a big enough data set, you're not going to fucking know anyway.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, rather than taking an opinion, when somebody gives you an opinion, ask them, well, how much you got? How much you bag?
Yes.
What'd you make last year?
Yes.
So like guys want to give me crypto advice. Okay. Everybody wants to give me crypto advice. I'm like, okay, how much Bitcoin you got? You want to tell me about BTC? Tell me how much you got. You want to tell me about NFTs? Okay. Tell me about your biggest project. Well, I don't want to discuss that. Then if you don't want to discuss that, bro, you're not real to me. Show me the money. Yeah. Show me the results. Show me the success. If you want to teach me how to lose weight, show me how much you got rid of. And if you can't show me that, I'm moving on.
I love it. All right. Well, I know that you're coming up on time here, but I want to ask you a couple rapid fire things here. So we've got 2 significant things. You brought up SVB several times. What do you think is the big takeaway? What can the world learn from? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they see SVB collapse and they're like, I wasn't using SVB. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't think that's the point.
No.
What was the takeaway for you, and what do you think entrepreneurs should take from it?
You guys should have multiple banking relationships. You should not be saving money. Money needs to get invested, and it needs to get invested in something, because that's what the bank was doing with it. Basically, what happened was the bank was taking deposits and putting it in 10-year treasury bills. And when the 10-year treasury bill collapsed, the value of that 10-year treasury, unless it's kept till duration, cannot deliver on the deposit, on a withdrawal. Look, the reason to start a business, for most people, it's some passion that people have to, like, I want to help, I want to change the world, but you need money. If the business can't stay in business, it can't fulfill whatever the mission is. And I think too many founders and owners and CEOs forget that you need money, and you need lots of money, and you need to not lose money. So that's why I would just suggest to everybody, and I've been saying this for years before these bank collapses, this will not be the last, by the way. There's going to be many, many more bank collapses. Many banks are in trouble. We cannot possibly fund all the money that we have. The FDIC, for instance, the Federal Deposits Insured Corp, okay? It can only cover 1.3% of all the deposits in America. And then you're like, oh, it's in the good faith of the U.S. government. Okay, great. Well, we all know what that means.
Yeah, right. I was talking to my wealth team yesterday, and we were talking about this issue specifically. And I said, well, look, I don't know about you guys, but they're not high on my list of people to trust, the federal government in general, with my money.
Except that they can print money again. So what does that mean?
Sure.
And they will print money again.
And how's that working out?
Yeah, they're going to have to print money again.
Right.
Okay. So you guys that are like, we're all hearing about inflation. You started hearing about inflation when the COVID story ended. It went like this: Afghanistan, COVID, Ukraine, that story's wearing off. Nobody wants to hear it. So they moved to inflation. Now the inflation story's wearing off, and now you're going to hear about a bank. Like, they're just moving your attention units. Get money. You got to keep your eye on the ball. What is the target for you and your company while everybody else gets distracted? What's the target? Go get the target. In 2010, when I got hammered, I'm like, this is never going to happen to me again. I am going to be a big player. They don't jack with big players. They jack with everybody else. They leave big guys alone. I'm not a big guy yet, but I can get there. I know I can get there. You can't get there if you keep thinking small. You can pay off your cars, and you can pay off your house and your bicycles, and your kids are going to get a good education. But trust me, you guys are still going to be worried when you retire. Okay. We have been indoctrinated to feed the beast. I wrote about this in the 10X rule. Feed the beast, not their beast, your beast. And so what I do is I go hustle, Brad. I go hustle the marketplace for money. You guys see me hustling every day. Hit the link, come to this, go to that, buy this, get this. Every dollar that comes in, I pay my bills, and anything left over, I dump it into a real estate deal, and I go hustle again. I'm always broke. I never have any dough on me. If I have dough, I'm trying to get it in a real estate deal where I'm illiquid. Nobody can get the money from me. And I go bounce back into the marketplace, make contact with people, try to get some more money, bury it in a real estate deal, and cross my fingers and hope that 10 years from now, the rents go up on that building.
I love that approach. Huge proponent of real estate in general. How does it change for you during a recession? What is the advice for an entrepreneur moving into the recession versus another time, if anything?
Well, the rent gets more secure. You got to live someplace. Now, what you want to do, though, is you want to be, Jared and I have had this conversation. If you ever interview Jared, ask him, how many times has Grant asked, are we ready? I'll bet you 1,000 times in the last 10 years. And the goal in 2012 was in 2020 to be the lowest cost provider of education of anybody in the world. We're there today. Like, we have millions of bets on Cardone U for free. We're about to release kids that are in high risk situations, 10X Kids University for free. So as long as I can keep providing free content to people, I can build a list of people where 20% of those people want to do something else because they resonate with my whole vibe or whatever I'm teaching or doing. And then we'll just keep feeding the 80%, building a massive audience. We're at 16 million. I know I can build that to 100 million over some period of time, or maybe bigger. And then I need a bunch of different places to put people in where we service them. So whether it's $1, $10, $100, $1,000, or free, keep servicing people. They're not going away till Bill Gates figures out how to fumigate 4 billion people. Service the people.
What do you think the best skills are for a 20-year-old to learn today?
Confidence. You got to have confidence, man. You got to have target attainment. You got to know, hey, this is my target. I'm going to get it. I'm not going home until I get my damn target. So you guys got to you got to get like that drug addict. They don't come home without that drug.
Yes.
No money, no credit. Everybody hates their guts. Skanky, 74 pounds, needle tracks, and the guy still scores a bag. Clip that.
Yeah, right. Well, the other thing is I was interviewing somebody who runs an enterprise sales team in Silicon Valley, and he said one of the most impactful moments in his life was a mentor very early on said, sit your ass down with your list of names. Don't fucking get up to eat. Don't get up to pee. Don't get up to shit until you've called all of these people 3 times. And that little thing of don't get up to pee, eat shit was so significant for him. But it's exactly what you're saying. When you've got this obsession towards the goal, those things don't get in the way.
Check out episode 64 with Ramin Etihad to hear more of that conversation.
Dude, when you got to. And most people don't have a necessity value. Today they're promoting, a congressman's promoting 4-day work week. I hope your audience goes for it. Okay. I hope you guys go for it. I hope as many people go for this bullshit as possible. He's saying it's a way to make people happy. People are never happy when they're not working. Never in the history of the world. Okay. People are most unhappy when they're not working. It's when you're playing games all day that you become unhappy. It's when you're watching too many games in a row that you become unhappy. Game after game after game. And sooner or later, you're like, I hate doing this, man. But you keep doing it. Right. So I know when I'm happiest is when I'm busiest. Okay. Moving from activity, challenge, possibility, potential, failure. I don't quit. I go try again until I win. That's when I'm happiest. So if you guys want to go for the 4-day work week, let's just make it 3 days. How about 2 days? How about fuck it? Don't ever go back to work again. Because what I'm going to do, and people like me, we are freaking killers. And when you step on the sidelines, I'm going to go get your share of the market. I know this sounds vicious and terrible, but at least I'm being honest with people. I'm going to go get yours. You guys that are medicated, keep smoking that weed. I'm going to kick your ass. Okay. You guys that want to, you got to go get some poutine this weekend. I'm going to kick your ass. You guys that take off Saturdays and Sundays, good for you. You got religious people that won't work Sundays, good for you. I'm going to go work at I'm going to go steal market from you on Sundays, and I'm going to make it up to God later.
Love that. All right. What's the last question I got for you here is, you're big on sales, clearly. I could ask you a million questions about that, but one of the things that's happening right now is AI is coming in with copy, with chat bots, et cetera. How do you see AI impacting the sales career for an individual?
Hey, good, man. Let it give you some ideas. Let AI let you cheat the pitch. If you're calling on somebody in the furniture business, fucking go to AI and say, hey, what are CEOs most worried about write a short article about what CEOs are most worried about with furniture. I don't know anything about furniture. I can't know everything about everything, but just give me a couple things to talk about so I have some confidence going in. You said, hey, what does a 20-year-old need? Confidence. AI cannot give you guys, AI cannot be your confidence builder. Okay. It could give you a little juice. But sooner or later, you got to learn your own pitch, stand on your own feet, make your own presentation. AI is not going to do that. If it does for you, good. If you can figure out how to do that and produce another $10 million a month for me, come over to my place. I'll give you 10% of it. You'll make $12 million next year. Let's roll. And let me just say this on the sales thing, man. The marketing piece is senior to the sales piece. Okay. It goes like this. The marketing is senior, then the sales. Okay. Then I got some money. What do I do with it? Because you guys that are marketing and getting money and then you blow the money, you're going to go back and do this cycle again. And sooner or later, 3 or 4 times through this cycle, if you end up broke every time, you're going to quit doing any of it. So it goes marketing, sales, collect money, park that money in a deal, in an asset, push it off into an asset and go repeat the cycle from broke. So one day you're going to look up and you're going to be like, shit, I got a bunch of assets. When the world goes to hell, the banks are going to shit. I don't have any money in the bank, but I got these assets, and these assets over time are going to go up in value. And then I'm gonna go back in the marketplace and keep pitching whatever my little soap or dishwater or whatever my face mask or whatever the hell you're selling, solar or plumbing or fixing somebody's table, whatever it is you're pitching or selling to the world. Sooner or later, somebody's gonna replace that pitch. every piece of inventory or talent has a life cycle. Those assets over there are going to take care of you when your pitch falls on deaf ears.
I love that. And that's actually where I was going is I think that specifically as people drive, as entrepreneurs go into bigger and bigger businesses, if they don't work themselves out of the company, their time is crunched, right? So you have to get yourself out of your core business if you want to be an investor, to be able to allocate the time to assess deals, if that's a big part of your life. So the question was, GP or LP, do you run projects or do you invest in other people's projects? And what's your opinion for that stage of investment for that person? Should they go out and find the real estate deal, or should they find the person that they trust to do it for them and just look for a return?
Yeah. So let's take Annie, my assistant, who's texting me right now. Okay. Annie makes $70,000 a year being my assistant. When we hired Annie, I said, Annie, look, you're never going to make more than $70,000 a year. I'm already overpaying you. If you want to make more than that, then bring me more than a cup of coffee. She's like, what's that? I have all these people hitting me all day long, DMs, chats, emailing me, handle all that, turn all those leads into money. I'll pay you on it. She made $225,000 last year. She made 3 times more money on the hustle than she did on the job. She didn't have to take another job. Now, that's number one, get a good job. Get good at the job. Be great at the job. Second thing is tie into the revenue of the guy or the company you're working with. Produce more revenue and get a piece of that without taking or selling more hours. Third thing is, now this is what she hadn't done. She needs to convert that 145. She should be investing the 145 in my deal. She cannot find deals, buy deals, fund deals. She can't do it. It's impossible. And she can't find the kind of assets that I buy. So she should be a limited partner with me. Park her 145 in the deal. She hadn't done that. That's what she should be doing. And then next year, park another 145. And then the third year, another 145. And she'll always be broke until one day she's rich in assets and she's got cash flow coming in from $400,000 or $500,000 worth of investments, paying her another $25,000 or $30,000 a year. But the asset value is going up. That's what Annie should do. Now, if there's one of your listeners out there and he's got $10 million and he wants to go buy his own assets, the next 2 or 3 years is going to be the best asset purchase time in the history, and at least my lifetime. But you're still not going to be able to buy the asset quality that I buy, okay? Because I'm buying, every one of my deals is worth $1/8 billion. So every 8 deals should put $1 billion on my books. Most guys are out there buying 10 units. How much money can you make out of a 10-unit deal? You can make some, but you can't make a massive score. A limited partner would make more money with me taking a piece than they would on their own deal. Now I know you guys, some of you guys that have to do your own deals. I understand. I'm that guy. I got to do my own deals. I trust me more than any other human being on planet Earth, which is a good place to be at, because when I was 25, I did not trust myself at all. Now I trust myself more than anyone. And I strongly advise you guys to trust yourself. And that doesn't mean that you have to be the guy. You need to trust yourself with picking the right partner too. So I don't have 50 banks. I have a couple of banks. I trust them. I know where my money's at. I know what they're invested in. When I buy a real estate deal, I know I'm going to make money. It's not if I'm going to make money. It's when I'm going to make money. I'm as close to a guarantee on a deal as a guarantee can be. I don't invest any money in the stock market, none in the bond market, no BTC. I was given a couple thousand BTC for some speaking, but I didn't go out and buy any. I invest in one asset, Grant Cardone. Number 2, in my businesses, take the money out of the business because I don't trust my businesses completely. I know they're going to expire one day, but I trust those assets. So anybody out there who's got $1 million, $500,000, $300,000, we created Cardone Capital. We've raised $1 billion crowdfunding. We pay people every month. $4.2 million is being sent out this month. We sent out $52 million last year to our investors, and we just wait for the asset class to go up in value. You could find the same asset that I could buy, and I'll still make more money on the same asset that you would. If you paid the same price, which you won't, by the way, I'll get it cheaper than you. The debt will be cheaper. I'll manage it better. And I'll put the 10X name on it and keep it more full.
Don't talk shit to me. You don't know what I could do.
I got to believe I'm the best.
I love it. I love it, man. So what's the minimum on the fund? And like that actually plays to another relevant question, because like the $10 million guy or girl, which is kind of, our audience is 8, 9, 10 figure entrepreneurs, or that's who we interview. But there are also tons of people that listen that are smaller than that, right? That are coming up in business. So the question is, if you're smaller than that, like what do you suggest to be the minimum threshold before you start dumping it into investments?
If you're under 100 grand, you can come into our fund as a non-accredited investor. Okay. There's distributions every quarter for people that put in under 100. Accredited that put in over 100 get distributions every month. We do an 80-20 split on the money. I do a 1% fee to manage the property, which is less than BlackRock. You get direct access to me and my team. Can ask us anything. Like we're doing a call 2 nights from now with all our investors. I have 11,000 investors. I probably have more investors than 99% of all the syndicators in America today. We spend almost no money on advertising. We spent 14 grand last year on advertising. So it's impossible to do what I've done. We do not take money from big equity funders, pension funds. I don't take money from super rich people. I take it from everyday people. So a guy could get started with literally with $5,000. It's cardonecapital.com. Go press the non-accredited button, fill in the paperwork, and wait for me to buy a piece of real estate. We've oversubscribed, meaning overfunded 23 projects in a row. We did one 2 months ago. I kept telling people, come in this deal. I'm working on a deal. We bought a deal that was $76 million for $52 million. Closed, offered the fund on a Monday. It was closed Wednesday morning and we had to send $40 million back. We funded $70 million like in 25 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
That's our audience.
It's phenomenal what we're doing. Like we're helping people. Okay. Like, and these are institutional quality assets. These assets are in the best locations, best cities. They're phenomenal. We took a building that was 77% occupied, closed on a Friday. By Monday morning, we had contracts for 95% of the building. In 3 days, we did more with that building in 3 days than Goldman Sachs had done with it in 7 years.
So throughout the conversation, you kept talking about the target, staying focused on the target. And as you get closer to the target, ramp up the reports. What's your target now? What's the end goal, man? Where's the finish line? Are you going to retire?
Of course not, dude.
When is enough enough?
No, I mean, I'm going to keep going as long as I can keep going. But I mean, the goal right now is to build a 100,000 unit apartment portfolio, become one of the biggest apartment owners in the country, and do it with people, with everyday people. Do it with the people and families that need the investment, not the pension funds and the sovereign funds and the Saudi funds and the CalPERS credit union and the freaking MetLifes. These people, these are $1 trillion companies already. BlackRock doesn't need any more money. I want to do this with the Morgans, down the street, him and his wife and his 2 kids that need distributions every month. So I want to build a 100,000 unit portfolio, $40-50 billion. It'll be one of the biggest privately held real estate portfolios in the country. And I want to distribute to everyday people. That's one of the targets. Our 10X growth conferences will probably be events where we don't sell tickets in the future and just for investors and partners. And it won't be open to the public. I want to do something publicly on Wall Street, taking some of our Cardone Ventures business and taking them public possibly in the future, or offering that also to the public. And rather than selling the stock on Wall Street, keep it in our ecosystem and then take it to Wall Street later. And who knows, maybe become a bank one day.
Well, we can talk about that, man. That's my wheelhouse right there.
Well, dude, I'd love to figure out how to do that, because clearly these fucking bankers don't know how to even manage money.
Yep. Yeah, no joke. Well, I'm well down that path. That's a whole nother conversation, but well down that path. And
let's figure it out.
Credit card processing. Yeah, moving electronic payments is day to day for me, but the other layers are fascinating, interesting, full of red tape, and let's talk more on that.
Yeah. Well, if you have good management skills, like I know how to manage money. Not everybody. In fact, most people that get money do not know how to manage it. So I don't know how I got the gift of knowing how to keep money. I lost a quarter when I was 8 years old. I fell in a manhole in the street. And my dad said to me, he's like, never lose money. bro, I don't think I've lost any money since then.
Well, so hold on. I have to know about the 10X partners, because you mentioned the fund and bringing people in to help them through the fund. But I also know that you have these other 10X branches where you've brought in a partner to run it. How do you structure that stuff? And how do you think about it now that we've brought up the idea
they're all
of a
different.
bank
They're all
and making that happen?
First,
together?
they come into our ecosystem. Then they get our training. We don't just go out and just do deals with people. Like, you got to be in the ecosystem. So you guys that want me to fund your business or market or put my name on it or endorse it, you got to come into the ecosystem. People that want to do business with me, it's not hard. Do business with me. We do 150 events a year. Come to the events. Put a face. There's a lot of people in my world. Put a face in front of me, and then a second time and a third time, and show me that you want to learn about how to grow and scale your business. You want to go to Tony's events? Good. Go to Tony's events. I don't know you. I'm not at Tony's events. I'm not interested in hype and motivation. I don't care about people that want to talk about their daddy touching them in the wrong place when they were 6. It doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care. I just care about your business is growing fast and you're servicing your customers and you know how to manage money and you want to make more money. That's what we do at my place. We don't coach people and their feelings or their past, or you're like, Grant, I need some motivation. All right, well, go get it some other place, because I'm not here for that. I'm here to get you the bag. And you got psychological problems, I'm not your guy. But I will make you the richest guy with psychological problems that you've ever met.
I love that, dude. When I was probably 19, I grew up in Cutco knives.
Yeah, sure. Great company.
Yeah, grew up selling Cutco. I was the number 1 sales rep in Cutco in 2001.
Wow.
And while I was trying to learn sales, I went to a Brian Tracy conference.
Yep.
And Brian Tracy was, talking sales on stage. And he said, listen, he explained this conversation where some guy came up to him and said, look, Brian, your stuff is great. I've learned so much about sales. I have a problem, though. I'm just not that motivated. And Brian said, sorry, man, can't help you. So sad. Too bad. Not my problem. Come back when you're motivated.
The whole thing's overrated, though. It's overrated. Nobody's motivated all the time. It's bullshit. You guys, y'all have your little, what are they called? The things that you won't not do every day. People ask me this all the time. Hey, what are your
negotiables?
Negotiables. I'm like, bro, what does that even mean? I wake up. That's my non-negotiable. I wake up and I run at the target. That's like, there's no tricks here. There's no cold baths, hit myself in the face, walk on fire, beat my chest, scream a word. Guys, you just got to show, man, there's no tricks here. Show up, move to the target, and don't quit until you get it. And if you don't quit, you're going to win. Everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. I believe that like 100%. I believe anybody can be rich. I think anybody can be successful. I know it's hard to believe. I think, I did this video about, people that don't make at least $400,000 a year should be ashamed of themselves. You should be. Goddamn, money's everywhere. And I don't know how you feel good about making less, worried about money and worried about your family all the time. I don't know how people feel all right with that. If you know how to feel good about it, well, good for you. And if you're fighting in Afghanistan and your family's over here, you're making 70,000 or 60,000 or 50 with the government, figure out how to make another 320 while you're over there fighting. That technology exists today that you don't have to be in the game to produce the revenue. So I don't know why everybody's hating on me for telling them what's possible. I'm just like, bro, fuck, I don't know what to tell you. Like, get the bag. You need it.
Well, because everybody's a snowflake, Grant, and we don't want to damage the snowflake.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. I grew up in Louisiana, so we rarely saw any snowflakes except on TV.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I know that you're coming up on time here.
Brad, hey, man, push this out. Let everybody hear it, okay? I think it was a great interview.
I love it, man. I appreciate you spending time on it. Love it. I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed doing it. I need your help. There are 3 places you can find Beyond a Million. The podcast itself, beyondamillion.com, which has some cool free resources, including a free course. And we finally launched the Beyond a Million YouTube channel. I would love it if you would go there and subscribe. And if you don't want to, you still would probably enjoy seeing the visual content. Check it out, youtube.com/@Beyond a Million.